New toy just showed up. Anybody take any guesses? That might give some of it away. See if this gives it away. Oh, it does. Oh yeah. Yep. 4x8 plasma table this one's from Premier Plasma. So I'm gonna get the top off and show you guys inside, and then we gotta do some cleaning and rearranging so we can put it over there with that mess. All that's gonna move, so here we go. All right, top is off. So everything looks really well boxed. Assuming those are the, obviously with the with the cogs on them, they're probably the main arms, obviously. Everything is boxed up really nice. Everything is labeled of what it all is. So, and then this one I got with a water table. So pretty sure that's what that is. So yeah, I'm gonna get it apart and we're gonna take a look at it. All right, guys, we are halfway unloaded. Everything looks pretty awesome in this crate as far as, you know, I mean, when you pay that much money for something, I would expect it, but I'm happy to see very well packed. Everything looks pretty dang good. That is a lot of sticks of flat bar. So 4x2 120 is the main beams. I'm assuming those right there are the legs, and there's some other stuff. Excuse the mess, I'm rearranging my shop to fit this in here. But then we've got the water table. Looks really nice. Obviously probably cut it on their table. That might be a laser cut. But all welded together. Everything looks really good. So, and then I got all the boxes of stuff. Everything's really well labeled, as you can see. It's upside down, but so yeah, I'm pretty impressed so far. Everything looks really good. So okay, so everything is unloaded out of the crate. You've got several boxes here. Like this one there's the keyboard. There's a little keyboard. Massive instructions, like huge instructions. I've already kind of been through them briefly, but like it's probably 30 pages or so, I would say. Bolts are all extremely well labeled. Bolts and nuts, as you can see down in there. Extra floating head sensor switch. I mean, there's just, it even comes with silicone for the water table. So that's pretty cool. I believe this is for all the wires on the gantry. I mean, yeah, it's pretty extensive. Those boxes have all the stepper motors and some other stuff in them. The computer is down in there, right there at the bottom. Comes with the computer. I believe the only thing I got to do is get a monitor, which is no big deal. So there's your main beams. This is their, whatever they call it. I think it was on this label here. Where'd that go? Flat top. Yeah, that's it. That's the words I was looking for. Flat top table. Their normal tables have like a raised side on them, and I don't believe you can load sheets in from the side. It's only from like the end, or only pieces, I guess maybe I should say. But this one is a flat top, which in retrospect I didn't really need, because I'm going to have it in kind of this enclosed space here. I can't really get to it from either side. So maybe I didn't need that, but I figured I was there. Why not? So those are about 10 foot long. They're 4x2, 1/8 inch tubing with a gear welded on the side of them. So they're nice and stout. Here's your gantry, same thing. It's a nice piece. They've welded their gear on it for the motors. Here's the legs. There was a little bit of damage in shipping. I'm not super worried about it. But they're the bright green Premier Plasma legs. There's some more legs there. And this is kind of the framework that goes around the outside. I mean, all packaged. Like I said, there was a little bit of damage there. A nail was underneath that from the crate. You know, and it rubbed on it. So there was a little bit of damage. But honestly, crated really well. Everything, for the most part, everything came really nice. Here's the water table. It is 4 pieces. I got a 4x8 table. I think if you get a 4x4, it's just 4 pieces. This looks really modular. It looks like they basically just take 2 4x4 tables and make them match together and make a big 4x8, which is, you know, from a manufacturing standpoint, that's pretty cool. And then here's your hold your slats. So that's all really nice. Really nice stuff. So all bent up. So yeah, I'm gonna work on starting to put this together. Hopefully I mentioned they have a very extensive manual. It's like 30 some pages. It's a really nice setup. I mean, you got everything in here. Keyboard, little keyboard, everything. Everything is super well labeled. So yeah, I'm gonna start putting this together and I will bring you guys along as I go. Sorry about the mess, but I thought I'd show you guys the manual real quick. There's another manual, kind of a troubleshooting guide, which I haven't pulled out and looked at yet. But this is extensive. You got a number you can call them. You know, not that it really matters, but a nice thank you thing. Blah, 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 blah. Nice pictures. If you're new to this world, which I kind of am, they give you the accident, which I already knew that, but just saying if you're kind of new to it, they give you basically the layout of how everything's going to be when they're talking in terms of the names they use, x-axis, y-axis, a-axis, etc. List some things, and that's kind of cool. For the water table, there's specifics going to have this little blue dot. I mean, this is basically my point is this was very well thought out. So there's an explanation of what everything is. Parts list, and see there's the water drop for your pans and everything. I mean, nice pictures. I mean, obviously if you guys order this, you'll see all this, but I thought I would show this. This is pretty sweet. You know, tells you what you need. Somewhere I saw also, is that on this first page? Oh, there we go. So that's nice to see. There'll be like a pro tip, this up here, I mean. Like a pro tip, which is pretty cool. If you guys have watched my video about the HTP Pro Pulse, I love that about their manual. There was like pro tips and, you know, tips and tricks sort of things in their guide. So that was really cool. This has become kind of a theme in my shop. I really enjoy working with these little bit smaller companies that really put some like personal touches in some of their stuff, and it's really nice to be like this. Premier Plasma is completely American made as far as I know. I believe that's what's all over their website. So, but yeah, I'm not going to bore you guys with all this, but very extensive, very extensive manual. Goes through every little part of the setup process with pictures and diagrams, and I mean, it's pretty sweet. So I'm gonna start working on it, and I'll be right back. All right, real quick, this is the things you're gonna need according to the manual. There is one small discrepancy. Sorry about the mess there, guys. That says 7/16 and 9/16. That says 1/2 inch and 9/16. So I just grabbed all three. It says ratchet wrench is not necessary, but basically recommended. I got all three. Couple of hex drivers, 5/32, 7/32. I got my Milwaukee stubby impact. It shows in the picture a little like drill impact. I just took and put this on number 1 so I don't, you know, strip anything or whatever. But I'm assuming obviously a drill style impact will work just fine. I do have a knife, gonna need it. These are heavy, guys. Let me zoom out. These things are, like this package right here is every bit of probably 50 pounds. Maybe more. I mean, it's heavy. It looks like just a little piece of something wrapped in cardboard. No, sir. It's heavy. So be very careful. Take a knife, cut them open. Let me get them laid out, and we'll go from there. Okay, so on opening this, yeah, again, a little bit of damage from the crate from a nail sticking up. I'm not super concerned about it. I can fully understand if somebody is, but it really doesn't concern me. What I appreciate, for one, I showed you guys the crate was very well put together, even though obviously there was a few little issues. Crap happens. But look at this. These black, they took the time. I know it may seem dumb, but they took the time to wrap each individual one. And can I get around there? There you go. To attempt, I mean, like that. Yeah, there's a little scuff right there. Paint knocked off. You know, stuff happens. They sure tried, though. There's a scratch right there. I mean, I'm not knocking that on the company at all. What I am knocking is the absolutely worthless, I'm sorry, but well, I'll say relatively worthless delivery driver that brought this. That I won't even get into that. I've been a truck driver, or I've done a lot of truck driving. I'm not going to call myself a truck driver, but I've done a lot of truck driving. So I feel the right to be able to say that after dealing with this guy. But anyway, that's none of the, no part of this. These guys tried their darndest to wrap this stuff up really nice, took their time. I think it looks like they took their time. And I can really appreciate that. So I just wanted to point that out. Yeah, did it come a little damaged? Yeah, it did. Am I going to, complain to the company? No, not at all. I don't really care that much. So, I mean, it's going to get, spatter and stuff all over it and be sitting here in my shop anyway. It's not winning a beauty contest. So, and I know that most of the reason any of those scuffs and dings was from the trucking company trucking it all the way out here with zero care. So anyway, yeah, let's proceed. So real quick, taking this apart, I see 6 of these that all look exactly the same. But nowhere in, that's what I'm sitting here and let me straighten my words out here. It says I should have 7 black cross members. So I'm like, okay, something's maybe up there. So I went to my extensive parts list, and sure enough, I think they may have to send me another cross beam. I'm not sure if that's a bottom rail or a cross beam, but either way, there should be 7 of both. So I'm going to continue on and see what I come up with, and we'll see what happens. All right, crisis averted. So when I started unwrapping these, which is the second package there, this one, which is shorter, well, no, it's about the same length if you look, but it's thicker, wider, I should say, was out front of all those, and there is 7 of those. So I'm assuming that is my one bar that I was looking for, because that does make 7 and 7. So crisis averted. We're good to go, I think. So let's proceed. Okay, because I like to keep things honest, I am going to knock them just a little bit on their paint/powder coat. I don't know, I think it's just painted. But there were spots like that was definitely, I'm sure that's probably where they had something holding it up. But like it's really light right there. I think the camera shows that up. And there's a couple other little spots, which could attribute to this stuff. I don't know for sure. I'm still not going to let it get me down or not get me down, but let it discourage me. So far, they wrapped everything really nice, packaged. Everything looks good in quality. I just wonder if maybe their paint process should be just a little bit better. But I'm not going to jump to conclusions. I'm just pointing that out as I see it. Everything else looks pretty good. This one looks like it might be a little bit low on paint, but I don't think the camera's going to pick that up. It's got a little bit of a dark tinge to it. But the rest look pretty dang good. So we'll keep going, see what we come up with. Everything is packaged really nice. I'm pretty happy with it. Like these brackets are all wrapped up real nice. And they are stout. That is at least 1/4 inch, I think. They are really stout. These little center brackets are a little flimsy, but I don't imagine they do much other than hold things together. I'm not sure. The paintwork is way better on these parts. These parts are really, really nice. They came in their own box. I do have to further knock them a little bit. It's never going to show up on camera. But that leg, the bottom of it is really rough. Like the paint is super thin. Yeah, I can't sit here and tell you I'm super impressed with the green paint. So far, everything on the black, yeah, there's some of those scuffs on those. But everything on the black is pretty good. The green, not so much, especially like that, where that came through. It's cool that it's USA, but, you know, the writing came through. There's obviously not a whole lot of paint on there. So, you know, not a huge thing. It's not like it's a car going down the road. You know, I don't know. To me, it doesn't really bother me, especially when you look at the price of these. They seem, besides paint, so far seem like really good quality for a pretty dang affordable price for when you think of what you're getting. So, and time will tell. I could eat those words, but so far I'm not that concerned about a little bit of paint when everything else so far is looking really good. So we'll see what happens. For anybody that gets a water table, make sure and thoroughly read this, because I'll come back to this here in a second. If you go to pictures like this, if you see that those right there, they're angle iron basically. I mean, I think they're formed, but they're not actually angle iron, but they're an L. So you can see that. In the pictures, they go, which I'm not knocking Premier Plasma by any means. I'm just telling you, in the pictures, where'd it go? Come on. Oh, there's a good picture. In the pictures, the L is up, so it's a flat surface. But if you thoroughly read earlier, which I didn't, this says with a water table, they need to point towards the inside of the table, and that's where the pans will rest. So, to me, I could be wrong, but to me that means that it needs to make a cradle, like so, and then the pan rests right there. So, hopefully I'm right. That's the way I'm going to put it together. And we'll see what happens. All right, getting one bar put on. Got my center brace here. The one thing they do tell you in the instructions, so it's no surprise, I actually think it's great, is these are very tight tolerances. These will not just slip in there. So what I've been doing is just putting them, obviously, just putting them on the end of my, this is hard one-handed, putting them on the end of my Milwaukee. And then this is not going to go well. Let me try and hold this. And then they just slip right in. So, and then nuts on the back side. Doing this by feel, looking at the camera. There we go. And yeah, we are set. So, yeah, there's one crossbar. And I'll bring you back when I get more. Okay, guys, if you're like me and you don't have any friends. Sounds funny. No, not actually, but don't have any friends that can come help you, because the instructions clearly say you really should have a friend or somebody that can help you, which I totally see. This would be a lot easier, but this is working really well for me. Get one end in, and one of the bolts, there's enough clearance on all those brackets that they're not going to hit. Rest one down, and then what I've been doing, see if I can do this with the camera in my hand without tipping the whole mess over, is, oh, nope, got to move that bracket over. That's fine. Let's move that. It's a tad bit tedious, but completely doable. And I've been resting this on my knee, like so. Get my one bolt started, like so. There we go. And then bring my, I'm sorry for the jerky camera, but it's just the way it goes. Bring my one around and stick my bolt in there. You guys can see the point. Can't really do it with a camera also in my hand, so you'll have to just trust me on that. It's pretty easy when you have two hands. It's really not bad. There we go. So one bolt in each one. Then now I can sit here and put the rest of the bolts in. And like the instructions say, do not tighten them up. Leave everything loose until you get everything together. Which this is a little bit sketchy. I need to get a crossbar across to kind of hold everything up. Because it's a little wobbly at this point. There's a lot of weight all in one, you know, on the heavy side. So these ones here are going to get that big bracket that I showed you up there is going to stick out here, and that's what's going to hold that big bar there. So I need to get that on here, and then we'll keep going. So once again, worked well here. At least on mine, these big brackets had a little bit more clearance on the bolts, so it just slipped right on. So I just ran my bolt through this, put it up here, ran it through the green, and then this just slipped right on, and that is rested on the floor. Then I will go over to that side and repeat the process. All right, one end rail on with end brackets. Make sure this piece goes down the long axis, or on a 4x4, I guess. Wouldn't necessarily matter. So far, super pleased. Everything, like the bolts, all the holes, everything is well done there. Everything lines up really well so far, even for how tight the tolerances are. But I will say, if you have kind of like a machinist mind, which I don't really, you're probably going to be a little bit because like over there, I had to like hammer, meaning with the drill, not literally hammer, actually like really run those bolts in. Over here in the black plate I did, but they just slipped right through the green plate and right through the big plate in the back. I mean, so the tolerances, nothing is loose, but the tolerances are definitely a little bit kind of not super consistent, but we're talking thousands. We're not talking, like it wobbles. I mean, I'm just pointing it out just to point it out. It's not an issue. Honestly, probably all it is the little bit of inconsistent paint quality or powder coat. I'm not sure. To me, it looks like paint. Maybe it's powder coat. That is the only thing that probably is making that different. Because this is one of them that is a little bit thin. It's a little bit rough because it's thin. So that would make perfect sense. Yeah, everything's looking really good. I got two sides on. And I'm going to continue on around. All right, there we go. Everything is loosely put on. Both my side plates, my center bracket there. Can you see it? There you go. Yeah, everything is loosely put in. One thing I didn't do that I'm probably going to regret big time is I didn't really sit this exactly where I wanted it to start with. That's probably going to come back to bite me. I want it more over towards that wall, and it's not very square. I know I need to square it before I tighten everything, but I mean, it's not square in this hole that I want it in. So I probably should have done that first. So we live and learn, but I think I can get it over there. I'll find some help to come help me with that. And yeah, so I believe next in the instructions is start putting all the bottom bars on. So I will get after that and turn this back on. All right, there we go. Center bar is on. It did not tell me which direction. So I don't know, I just went with that direction. I don't think it matters. Yeah. So I just went with that. It goes in between the two. At least I presume. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because I'm pretty sure there's a bottom bar that goes down in between as well. I could be wrong on that. Yeah, now that I'm saying that, maybe it shouldn't. Maybe it should go out on the face of one of those. So maybe I'll move that around. I'll double check the instructions, but I don't think it really told me. So yeah, I'm relatively certain that I have it wrong. Looking very closely at that picture, I see black. My other hand's fuller, I'd point it out to you on that. So I don't think I'm supposed to put it in the middle like I did there. So I think I'm going to move that real quick. I'm assuming, because the reason I've come to that conclusion is, see how it fits over that, down in behind there? But for these lower bars, there's no like relief cut in that to be able to do the same thing, to slide in between those. So I'm pretty sure I should have it out on either side. So I think I'm going to move that, and then I will get started on the bottom bars. And the only reason this is even possible, I guess, is because one side of this center bracket, see, they're slotted. This side is not. And then that bracket over there is the same. It has one side is slotted, and they're like maxed out. So I'm assuming that was not how I was supposed to do that. So, all right, I'll get that fixed, and we'll be back. There we go. Bottom legs are on. Very important. Again, pay attention to the damn instructions. Very important to put one higher than the other. I don't know if you can see it. There we go. It tells you that in the instructions. I just didn't pay close enough attention. That's very important. So far, super pleased. I was a little worried. I think you can see right there how close those are to the top of that rail. I thought, oh man, that ain't gonna tighten that, you know, the knobs of the nut are gonna catch. I thought, oh boy, no, they work good. Somebody thought it through. Yeah, everything seems good so far. I will say I went a little bit against the instructions, I think. It said, I believe it specifically said to put the bottom rails in the same order as the top rails. But what I went on is in the instruction book, it shows these top rails the other way, which I'm assuming is for a non-flat table. It's for their traditional style table, that these side rails go the other way. They go up instead of down. So I went ahead and put them that way. I think they look better. If you can see the orientation there, they're up. So I went ahead and did it that way. We'll see if that bites me. I don't see why it would. But we'll see, I guess. So, all right, I think next, if I read in the thing right, is to put the big side rails on. So I'm going to get going on that, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, one crossbar on. Again, man, I can't knock them. Very well thought out. That slot, this square cut out of here, so you can get in there and put them nuts on and get a bolt on, or I mean a wrench on them. I mean, heck, man. It's very well thought out. The only thing I don't know what it's for, I'm sure I'll find out later, is that bolt sticking out of that center bracket. It does not quite come all the way out. And I don't know. I'm assuming it's going to either be to mount something or to possibly hold this distance so that this doesn't, oh yeah, see, so that doesn't move. I bet that's what it is. Hopefully I'll find out later in the instructions. I don't know, but so there's one on, and I thought I'd show you over here. Again, these things are heavy. Well, if you can imagine a 10-foot piece of 4x2 1/8-inch steel with a solid steel gear welded on them, yeah, they're pretty hefty. But doable for one person. But again, same thing I did with the cross rails. I set that end down. I held this end up, stick my bolt in, reached in there and put my nut on, and then I can just raise that end up and complete the process. So, yeah. Going well so far. So I will say, if you're somebody watching this video, maybe that this is kind of like a new toy, you know, maybe you haven't done a lot of automotive stuff or anything, you got to be a little bit, at least with these 4 bolts, you got to be a little bit ambidextrous, I guess would be the word. Let me get this bolt in here real quick. There we go. Yeah, so if you can't do the whole 2 fingers and get them tightened on, or get them started on there, which, watch me not be able to do it now. I've done it on the other 7. There it goes. It's on there. I would recommend taking your wrench, sorry about the mess, and putting a piece of tape across there, and stick your nut in there, and then stick it in through this slot, and do it that way, and spinning the bolt head out here on the front. That would be my recommendation. But it is doable, at least with my not that big hands. It is doable with just 2 fingers reaching through. That's a pretty good size slot they've given you. So, yeah. So there we go. I think I read in there that now is the time we start tightening everything down. I'm going to actually get some help out here and get this more squared up and leveled up and everything where I want it. And then literally square it from corner to corner, which I believe is what it tells me to do. And then start tightening things. And I believe I haven't quite got that far in the book, but I believe it's tighten these first. Those guys there. And then tighten the corners. I think just the tops. All 4 corners, and then tighten the centers, and then tighten the bottoms, I think is how it goes. But if you get this, make sure you read the manual. Don't go by what I said. There we go. All right, so I'm going to get some help out here, and I am going to move it over here and square it up a little bit. And I'm going to try and level it, and as well as square it. I don't know if level really matters. It didn't say anything about that in the book, at least not yet. But I'm assuming it makes a difference, so I'm going to go ahead and just level from rail to rail. and then down each rail. I don't think the water bed really matters other than for the water. But I think the rails where it runs will matter. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Get it moved over here. And yeah, we'll start tightening things up. Here's where I'm at for the night. I know on video time it's probably been a second or two, but it's been a few hours. Nothing, I'm going to preface this, nothing wrong with the table. I poured this concrete floor myself, and I knew I didn't do the greatest job because it's not my skill set, but it's really fighting me now. I don't know how well you can see it. I've got 2 1/4-inch thick. I just made triangles just because it was easy, because I had some 5-inch wide flat bar, and those legs are about 5 inches wide. So I stacked 2 there. That's 1/2 inch. Here, my floor is not flat, so there's 1/4 and 3/16 there, but 1/4 barely fits right there in that corner. So I've just got that to kind of get me mocked up. But yeah, so that's 1/4 plus 3/16, so what, 7/16. This corner is 2 pieces of 3/16, and then that corner is 2 pieces of 1/4 again. And this end, oh, finger, let me zoom back out. This end is nice and level across. I mean, it's just real close, really close. I think plenty close enough. That end, I still need to come up, I think, almost an 1/8 inch in that corner. So here's why I did this. I was sitting here tightening these up, and I'm not sure how well you're going to see it on the camera, but if you look right across here, you've got that gear. Again, you can't really see it, but that gear is running right there. And the tops of those black bars, I could see a hump in the middle when I was looking across there. So I'm like, okay, so it's my concrete. I got a hump right here, or a dip on both ends, one or the other. So I'm like, okay, so I decided to start cutting spacers. Well, now I've cut spacers and got it up, got it close. Well, now, again, you probably can't really see it, but now I've got a dip in the center. So instead of just eating up a whole bunch of material, cutting more spacers, and I don't know, all I have is 3/16 and 1/4 inch. I'm not sure that I've got any 1/8 right now. I might. But anyway, what I think I'm going to do is I've got a couple pieces of 040 and 063 or 16th inch aluminum, which I know is probably not the best to go on the floor, but at least figure out where I need to be, put them as a small spacer underneath the middle piece, and then I think that's going to get me nice and level. Get that little dip out of it. It doesn't need much. It's very minute. I don't even know that this is really needed. I would think with having the water table in there, you should be pretty as level as you can. Because, yeah, I mean, you're going to have water in there, and obviously water's going to level. So that's why I'm going through all this. It is zero fault of, as far as I know, of the table of Premier Plasma. Nothing, no problems there. It's just me and my horrible concrete floor pouring skills. So, yeah. Anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it for tonight. For you guys, it's probably just going to be the next clip, but I will come back at it in the morning and see if we can get her finished off and start putting. I think the next step is to put the motors on both sides here and then put the gantry on. So, yeah. All right. Be back in the morning. All right, guys. It's a new day here. I apologize. I got a lot done that I did not video, but I will kind of go over it here. So, went through, I think when you guys last saw me, I was trying to get this thing leveled up. I finally got it. It's a little bit less than ideal, but I think it'll be just fine. I've got some spacers. This here, my floor slopes up, so I had to do 2 different size spacers. For everywhere else, I cut some triangle pieces to go in there. And then I got all said and done, and it's all the material I had as far as thicknesses, and I was actually a little too high. So I ended up cutting, I had some spare 063 aluminum, 16th inch aluminum. Aluminum's not great going against concrete and all that, but it's not going to be a huge thing to slide that out and slide something else in there if I want to later. So it's just what I had on hand. So now everything is really close to flat and true. It looks really good. Again, you probably can't see, but looking across there. And then I went through and tightened everything at that point. Started at the corners, worked my way down, went over there, worked my way back, checked square. I'm within a 1/16 in, almost 12 feet diagonal. So I feel like that's probably pretty good. If not, I think I can adjust it just a little bit, kind of tap it here and there. But yeah, I'm within a 1/16. So, I went through, tightened everything. Everything on this part went really well. These, the 4 bolts here, or 8 bolts here, 4 bolts down there, 4 over there, 8 there, et cetera, et cetera. That went really well. When I got down to these, you remember earlier, because I don't think I'll edit it out or anything, earlier in the video I was saying, that's a pretty close clearance with the top bolt right there on this piece of angle iron. And while the nut spins on fine, it's really not enough room to get a socket on it. And then with that other bolt, they're so close together, there's hardly enough room to get in there with a wrench and get on there. It was not fun. I did everything with my little stubby impact, except those top bolts all the way around. That did not go well. I can't really knock Premier Plasma for that, but I wish they would go like another, I'm sure it's, it's obviously more expensive, but another like inch wider on their channel iron or angle iron or something, so that's not quite such a cluster. It wasn't a huge deal, and it probably would have been easier if I'd put them the other way, but I thought this would look a little nicer, so that's what I did. And then everything got tightened up, and then I had help, so I just did it. I'm sorry I did not get it filmed. It was a good process. I should have filmed it, of doing the water table. Because this is an 8x8, it comes in 4 pieces with all the bolts and nuts. And they even send you the just absolutely rank smelling, some sort of RTV silicone sealant / adhesive. I don't know what it is. It's thick and it is gross. You can still see some of it oozing out. And I just went through and I just took 1/2 and I just ran a bead kind of in the middle, and then I went around the screw and then continued on around the screw. And it made a little bit of a mess. You can see it oozing out right there. And then I cleaned up. See, I got this first one, I got really excessive. You can see all that extra. I got way better as I went on. There's still a little bit on that one, but it got way cleaner as I got down the road. But yeah, I just had my wife come out and help me. She was around, and then, it's not nearly as tight of a tolerance on these bolts, so they pretty much just slipped right through, and just tightened them up with the impact till it oozed out. And yeah, everything's laying in there really nice. It looks really good, I think. Actually, in the book, the next step after tightening all this down was to do these carriages. But I felt like I really didn't want them in the way for trying to do the water table, because this one does have a water table. So I went ahead and did the water table first. I don't see why that would be, negative. Oops, sorry. But I'm not sure. So now I'm doing these. I am going to give them a little bit of I wish this was designed a little bit better. Just a little bit. It's pretty minute. I worked through it, not a big deal, but again, I'm just trying to be honest with a kind of a review here. This roller bearing, I don't know if you guys can see, the plate is actually notched there, which is, I'm assuming, intended to hold this nut. It does not hold it very well. It could just be me and whatever I was doing, but it was not holding it well. And that is too narrow of a gap to get a wrench down in. So here, let me show you. I put a wrench on here, and I was trying to just hold down as hard as I could, get it. See, right there, it just sort of catches. And I kind of ran that on with an impact. But I have don't worry, I have my impact on 1 so that it didn't hurt this roller bearing. And yeah, so I would give that kind of a little bit of I wish they'd do something better there. But Yeah. And so far, again, I don't mean to just only say the negative, but I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. I'm sure I'll find out later, but can you guys see there's a gap underneath that motor? It's because this plate it's bolted to this bottom of this motor, and the screw heads stick down, but there's no relief in this plate for them to go in. So this plate with these screws clear out here is sitting on the 4 bolt heads underneath here. And it just, I don't know, it feels very odd. I don't know. It feels like a really easy spot for it to move around. I don't know. But they recommend using a clamp, so I've got a clamp on here. Let me go up underneath here and show you that way. Hopefully you can see that. So it's clamped onto the gear very carefully. I've not got it that tight. And then I'm going to put another clamp here and under to hold this bottom, because you want everything good and tight. Like, it's so tight, these don't really want to turn. So I think that's, I mean, I don't have it like crazy tight, but I mean, it is tight enough that these don't want to turn. So I might go ahead and put a clamp going down as well, just to make sure there's no slop anywhere. So, all right, that should catch you guys up. I'm going to keep going on this, and then I'm going to go do the A-axis side. And then we'll see what's next from there. I think it's going to be putting that gantry bar on top of here. I'm pretty sure. But we'll find out. All right, guys, quick view of what I got going on here. It looks like kind of a cluster, but says very specifically, good Lord, in the instructions that no slop at all in these. So there's probably better clamps out there, but I got some of my welding clamps. Got this big one holding the whole thing. It's biting very gently, but it's biting right there on that gear, so that it sucks the motor in to this carriage. And then the bottom kind of wanted to kick out, so that's why I've got these, but then I did this one on this side, and this side was a little bit loose, because you can tell these bearings, they'll roll, but they're real tight. So I went ahead and put one on this side, and then these bottom ones, so this one on both sides, this one on both sides, and this one on both sides, this direction, are not slotted. So I just went ahead and tightened those up. I didn't see any reason not to. But these 2 bottom ones, and show you up under there, there's 2 more, right here somewhere, right there. They are slotted, and that is, you have to take those 2 out to get this carriage on. And they say, obviously tighten those last. So that's what I got the big clamp for, is to hold down on this bracket and hold up again gently on this bearing down here. There you go. While I tighten it up. And again, as you should be able to see, it's that same setup as this. Doesn't work very well. Kind of a pain. So again, I'm not the kind to just one little thing and, oh, Premier Plasma sucks. Not at all. I think there's a few things that could be improved, but again, you got to kind of look at for the price point of this, versus, some big name machine. And I've heard tons of good reviews. So I'm hoping everything works out good. Just a few little spots that I wish were a little bit improved, but it is what it is. So, yeah, I'm going to continue on, and I'll be back. All right, guys, prime example. I'm on the carriage on the other side. Decided to do this one a little bit different. Get these in before I put the motor in, and get this carriage all nice and sucked up, and then put the motor in. Because that one just doesn't move very freely, but I don't know that that's not just the motor. So I don't know if I got it too tight. So I'm going to do this one without the motor. Tighten all these up all over the place and see if it still rolls good. And then if it does, then I'll put the motor in, because I don't see any reason why I can't put the motor in later and go there. But I want to show you guys, this is why you'll rarely ever see me bashing a company or anything like that, because there's a high possibility, I learned this in the dog training world, there's a high possibility that I'm not the one that's right. So that doesn't mean that the company is wrong. Earlier I was saying this is not the best design. Well, I don't know if that's how this was designed, was to hold that bolt. I think it's just a cutout for the bolt, because in my infinite wisdom, my ratcheting wrench doesn't fit in there. Oh, Here you can see it does not fit in that slot. I just, by happenstance, went and got a normal, what is this, like an ace wrench? Yeah, a normal ace wrench fits right in there. So I was kind of, I wasn't bashing, but I'm sure it maybe sounded like I was giving kind of a negative review on them. If you guys are watching Premier Plasma, I think his name is Jake, I think. I'm very sorry. I'm not going to edit it out because I think it's a good learning experience, but I am very sorry. I was just saying that I think that could be a better design. Obviously, I just need to get a different wrench, and it works just fine. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to progress on and see if tightening this one up the same way still makes it kind of tough to roll like that one. I really think that one, it's just the resistance from the motor, you know, rolling on the gears. So I'm pretty sure that's all it is. So anyway, all right. Hey, you guys with plasma tables, I need your help. I'm putting together this Premier Plasma table, and yeah, I know that it's not the $20,000 unit you might buy, but this just seems odd. That doesn't seem... I'm not so much the flimsiness of, I mean, it's just 1/8 inch or maybe 3/16 bar, but shouldn't there be a middle bar too to hold them all? I don't know, that feels weird. I'm almost done. Gotta put the gantry on and everything, but that just doesn't seem right. Do your guys' tables have that? Not necessarily Premier Plasma, but anybody else's? It just feels odd. All right, guys. Again, it was one of those spots. I know for you it's only the next clip, but it's been a few days. I think I showed you guys I got half of the slats in. I don't think I had this on yesterday. Same exact process as these guys. This one took a little more creativity with my clamps because there's not much room to get a clamp in there, and you can't clamp out here. It does not come with this plate on. The plate's separate. That's bolted on. So this is actually, this here, from here to here, all comes as one piece in a box, nicely wrapped, so that's good. This was separate, it's already been bolted on. This was separate, it's already been bolted on. So and now so got this on, everything looks good here, everything rolls nice. I gotta figure out wiring. This is where so far I'm figuring out that the instructions are very lacked, which is interesting because they are so thorough up to this point. And now, like, there is some stuff in there about how to connect the wiring, so that's good. But as far as, like, how to route them, no clue what this bar, I'm assuming this is where it goes, but no clue. I'm assuming this is what holds that. The cord, whatever you call it, caterpillar? I don't know. This guy that you put the cords in, but no idea how it mounts. No clue what this bracket's for. I'm not upset, even if I sound that way, I don't mean to. I'm not upset, I find it odd. I'm going to figure it out, but I just find it odd that everything was so thorough, and then those parts, these two brackets, sorry if I'm all over the place, this bracket and this big long bracket is not even in, well, and that is not even in the parts list. Nowhere. In the, whether it be the pictures or the list, this next page back. Nowhere. So, yeah, I have no idea what this is for. I'm sure I will figure it out at some point, but, yeah, as far as, and then bolts, like I put this in, I'm short a bolt because I used it somewhere else. I'm sure there's another one. No idea how this bolted, or, you know, what bolts to use for this. I just kind of guessed and they fit, so same with this. It just, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Again, I'm not knocking on Premier Plasma. I'm sure it's probably just me, but it just feels very lacking at this point. Again, there is some more instructions about wiring. I'm assuming they all go in all the wires, but I saw something in there about run them through the tubes. I'm not sure. I gotta read that. I got pretty tired the other night when I was reading that, so I gotta read through that a little bit better. But yeah, this can't go through the tubes now that I say that, because this goes back and forth. Maybe it meant these ones. Maybe these ones run down through these tubes. I don't know for sure. So yeah, anyway, So I'm just gonna kind of figure it out as I go, I suppose. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. It looks like kind of a mess, but just because I haven't cleaned my mess up. All my clamps from clamping this stuff on. But there's no movement in any of this, so I think I did all right there. At this point, it looks like a bit of a mess, but I think it will clean up. So I took a video of this in case I need to send it to Premier Plasma. Maybe I'll put it in here too. I don't think it's any fault of theirs. I think it's a shipping thing. But this one did come kind of, I guess crushed would be the word. I'm hoping it's not an issue. I guess I'll know real quick. But anyway, I thought maybe I'd put it in here too, just so it's not like I'm trying to, I did something and I'm trying to blame them. It's not that. That's the way it came. So, yeah. Anyway, so I will let you guys know my progress here in a bit. Found a bag. I didn't see it first. So that explains a lot. Cable chain bolts and a bracket. Okay, so that's a start. Still have no idea where'd it go? What this bracket is for. I can't figure it out. It is not in the instructions. I have no clue. So, yeah, I just went through all the instructions again. That is where, unfortunately, they're lacking a little bit. There is nothing about, like, ways you should route these wires or anything. Like, I'm assuming it sounds like maybe I should run them up to, like, a loop in the ceiling, like hanging down so that they're up and out of the way. I guess I'm just going to go by feel on that one. Yeah, so again, I'm not knocking them per se. I'm a little bit frustrated, I guess, but maybe it's just the mood I'm in. I don't know. The instructions were so thorough. I mean, 30 some pages, and we missed the part right at the end. All right, guys. So a little bracket was in the package right there. Again, I think I'm just in a bad mood today, but I was getting frustrated. These two bolts, the holes aren't cut quite right. I had to kind of drill them out just a little bit. Not a lot, I just used a step bit. Because those two I could not thread them both in. So, not a huge thing, especially when you have a full shop. It's not a big thing. I'm frustrated today, so try not to take it out on these guys. I figured out take this whatever that's called, chain or whatever, comes with these. Here, let me do this. Where is it? There you go. Comes with those cap head bolts already in it. I think you can kind of see it on that one. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, it comes with them in there, and it's literally just threaded into the plastic. Nothing special. Do not get them too tight, or you will strip them. So that's my best guess. Is it that, the bolt hole's lined up, so that's where I put it. And then this bracket, this big long bracket, bolt hole there, bolt hole over here. And then that had the two bolts with spacers in the package, the two silvery colored bolts. So that's what I put on right there, as you can see. There's only the two that came with it. I'm assuming it's not a big thing as far as there's not like a lot of torque on it. So there it is. It's on there. I don't know if that's really the direction I wanted the wires to go, but that's the way they're going to go for now. So I can't decide if I want my computer here. I really want it over there, but then I don't know if I want to listen to the compressor. So I will probably build a shelter for the compressor and put my little desk or whatever over there. So, and the best I can figure out wiring wise is I'm going to do something to try and make it not look hokey, but I think I need to just hang or set on a bracket or something the plasma cutter up there, up on the ceiling. I think that's going to be the best. I'm sure that I could run because I'm going to get, I got a machine torch on its way. And yeah, actually, truth be told, I got a whole new plasma cutter on its way. This one has like no hours on it. I picked it up super cheap off of a kid. But it doesn't have the CPC port. And by looking at their stuff and this bracket, I'm less than impressed with. I'm not, no, okay, sorry. Again, not a dig on Premier Plasma. It's actually a nice bracket. Don't get me wrong. I'm less than impressed with how the handheld torch would sit in here, and it kind of feels like it's not super steady, and I don't think it's any fault of the bracket. I worded that wrong. I apologize. I just don't like that. And then, you know, the cord is sticking out to the side, so that's going to be even harder to figure out how to get the wire to it without hanging up on this, and I think it's going to be a whole thing. So instead of spending $680 on a machine torch and $125 on the CPC upgrade kit for my machine, I said screw it. I just ordered a new 45, and I'll just sell that one on Marketplace or something. Or if I'm feeling frisky when it gets here, I'll just keep them both. I don't know. But I felt like that was just going to be easier, and honestly, it probably cost me less, because I can probably sell that one for almost as much as I paid for this one. So I'm not that worried about it. Anyway, back to topic. What was the topic I was on? I don't remember. I think it was on hanging the plasma cutter up. I think it's just going to be better running the wiring and everything. So that's not the topic I was on. I'm sorry, guys. So yeah, I think I'm about there. I got all the computer stuff to set up yet, and it comes with wire loom and everything. But I think I've used up about all the parts. I got to figure out the height control. Looks like I have to do a little wiring in the plasma cutter. I'm not so sure about that. Again, I don't think any fault of Premier Plasma. It's just what you got to do, and I'm not the world's best at wiring. So, yeah, I got to put the rest of my slats in, and I still have no clue where this bracket goes. I might send a message to Premier Plasma. I think his name is Jake, I believe, at Premier Plasma, and see where that goes. I have no idea. I can't even honestly find a spot that it would legitimately mount to. Yeah, I don't know. So we'll find out. But there you go. It's basically together. I got to run wires. I know I probably should have ran wires in this before I put it up here, but I was just trying to figure out how the dang thing worked. So, yeah, there we go. All right. One of those spots where previous clip you probably just saw, you could have possibly been screaming at the screen because I'm kind of an idiot. It happens. I'm not going to edit it out. We can all learn. So, maybe it's a possible that you could use it that way, is why the spacers are there. But I just realized that bracket, being the way it is, it's probably meant to be the other way around. And that's why I pulled this loose to see. This is about where, because it's not in the center. It's off to one side. So I'm assuming if you need it to be, sorry, finger, you can mount it this way with it back here like this and use those spacers, and, you know, all will be jolly. And you know what, honestly, what the spacers might be for is, see how this has like a kind of a up curve in it? It doesn't want to lay quite flat, so maybe I still need to use the spacers anyway. I don't know. I'm kind of new to this. So I'm going to flip the bracket around so that this piece is flat up instead of flat down, and we'll see if it fits any better. All right, so figured out what this bracket's for. If a little bit of an offshoot here, if you guys have watched any of my other videos, especially my one about unboxing the HTP Pro Pulse, which is in my mess over here, if you guys have watched that video, you know that I'll be at a little bit cheaper machine than some. Quality's there, and the best part is customer service, to me anyway. That's kind of where I'm at with this table. Yeah, a little bit cheaper price. Maybe some not quite as clean of products as some of the big guys, you know, Torchmate or Lincoln, whatever. You know, some of them others, I know there's others, lots of others. But now, even as super small and minute as this may be, I'm already pretty happy with customer service. We'll see if anything big comes up, how they handle it, but I'm pretty excited right now. If you go to their website, they have a support number. You can text or call. Because it wasn't pertinent, I just texted, sent a picture, said, hey, I don't see this bracket in your instructions. What's it for? He sent me a whole thing of, not that long, but whole thing of that's for a handheld torch, and he sent me a picture of where it's supposed to go, sort of deal. Yeah, I mean, super minute thing, but just simple, down-to-earth service. I'm pretty stoked about that. So that, as small as that may be, that leaves me pretty hopeful that if I have anything big go wrong, I'm pretty comfortable that they'll take care of it. We'll see. I hope nothing big happens, but if the time does come, I think it'll be a pretty good experience, I hope. So while I'm right here, quick tip, I'm running these wires through here for all that stuff. One thing, I was fighting like hell to get these big connectors around this corner. Go to the midpoint of the corner and just pull them out a long ways, even farther yet. And then don't double them over each other or anything, but then stick them back through there and on down. And it made life so much easier. That first one I fought for 10 minutes and finally figured that out. Maybe that's bad on me that I fought that long. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, just a little tip when you're trying to put this together. So we're getting there. I'm not going to do anything for a few days until the new plasma cutter gets here. But I'm just going to keep dinking around with these little projects, put the rest of my slats in. And then, yeah, switch over to the machine torch holder, which is that guy right there. So I'm going to switch over to that. And then we should be ready to go. So yeah, I got this wire ran through here. Oh, another quick thing. Again, just a small thing. I'm not knocking Premier, but the inside of this tube, you can see they did try and do some cleanup on it, but the inside of this tube had a little burr, and I really didn't want this wire sitting there on it. They do send loom, but I'm assuming that's more meant for this wad of wires. That it looks like a mess, doesn't it? This wad of wires that's going to go to wherever your computer is. If there's enough, I might slide some on in that piece through that tube, but I'm not too worried about it right at this moment. It's not like it's a car going down the road or something, so I'm not too concerned about it. But anyway, yeah, so I just did that on both ends. Took a file. I couldn't get my deburr, my little deburr pin in there because of this plate here. I just took a file and filed those edges a little bit, and it's good to go. So, all right, so that was just an hour or so in the evening's work. Got these cables. Got a little slack on this one because this will go up and down. Just inadvertently a little slack on this one because they're all zip tied together all the way down. So, and then this motor, got them all ran down through there. And then out the bottom, started the wire loom. Just loomed it right to that bracket, right down over the corner. I haven't done much with the mesh yet because I haven't got anything set up over here yet. But I will get it all loomed. And then I'm guessing just let it hang. I don't really have, trying to think if there's any way. I will think of something. There's a way to keep it a little bit nicer than just letting it hang there. I will see what I can do on that front. So, but yeah, so that's the majority of it. I still got to run this wire down with all those and get them all loomed together, but I think we're about there. Clean up my mess, get the rest of my slats in, and we're about ready. All right, guys, I'm not sure where I left you. Again, I know it's one of them things that it's the next scene for your video, but it's actually been in real time. It's been probably a week. I've been collecting parts and figuring out things I want to do, and just kind of tinkering with it. I've been not in any big hurry, so I'm not sure where I left you. I haven't started editing the video yet, so if I'm overlaying some things, I'm sorry. But I got all my wires ran. I feel like it could be a little bit better system. But again, it's one of those for the price. Sorry about the paper noise. I'm not too concerned about it. That feels a little bit hokey down there. I've got it like zip tied to that center bar right there. It is what it is on that. But you do get a full run of loom for everything to run in. Everything runs in it real fine, real good. That's all in. This is all in. when I last was with you guys, I had the regular XP45 with a hand torch, and this does come with a bracket and everything to run a hand torch, but I didn't have the CPC port in that machine, and so I was gonna have to get the upgrade kit, and then didn't have the machine torch, and so I just said screw it. Bought a new one, selling that one. Got a machine torch and CPC in that one. So there's the machine torch. Ran it up to some springs up there. Felt like that was kind of the best option. Time will tell on that. And I'm getting started on getting all the wiring put together. My compressor is right there, but I didn't feel like plumbing in a new outlet right now, so I had a spare hose. Ran it over to that one. I mean, that one's not going to get used for anything else, probably, so yeah, that's run over to the machine. I've got the machine torch lead plugged in. I've got the work clamp, or the ground clamp plugged in. Running these wires over and connect them up. Really nice connectors on here. They've got these screw-on boots. Everything's straightforward. Sorry if I can get you a shot there. Extremely well labeled. And then, again, their customer service really excelled. I could not figure out in the instructions, these wires were bare ends coming out of this control box, and these ones as well, and they're labeled. It tells you what they are. But I'm like, so if I'm looking at this right, I've got to hardwire, take the case apart and hardwire into my plasma cutter. And I'm like, that doesn't seem right. So I text that cell phone number from the website like I did earlier on that bracket. And I said, this doesn't seem right. What can we do? And he's like, oh, you just need a CPC cord. Now, I realize, like higher end machines and stuff, probably would have came with that, and maybe this should have came with this. But I have a feeling most people that are going to buy this setup are not going to have a machine torch and all that. So, I mean, I kind of get both ways of it. So, for $50, he sent me a CPC cable. I just had to butt connector it together. All the other cords and wire, I know it looks like an absolute mess right now, but there's the little computer, and all the cords. I just had to get a monitor, which that I knew from the beginning. And yeah, it'll be fired up here pretty soon. So I'll catch back with you guys when that happens.